Online for Authors. I'm chatting with Kim Sorrelle, author of Love Is. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you so much, Terry. I've been looking forward to being with you. So thank you so much.
Yes, this is a great book. I have recommended it to so many people since I've picked it up. But before we dive in and get into the little specifics, what are readers going to find when they open up the cover of Love Is?
Well, I think they're going to find maybe something different than they think, because it's a lot of stories. It's the stories of how I arrived at figuring out the true meaning of love. And it was sort of this eat, pray, love crazy journey. And so it's not just a fluffy love book, I guess.
Right. And that is so true. And it's not only not fluffy love, but it's not preachy either. You know, sometimes when people are telling you, oh, I've learned the definition of, and then they go to give it to you, it feels kind of like you have someone standing at a lectern and they're telling you now what to know. And instead, you were so real and honest. And it's what you found. And I don't know, I just found it so wonderfully delightful. Let's take a step back, though, and get back to kind of the Genesis story. How did this all come up? And what made you say, this is what I'm going to do with my next year?
Well, it's kind of a crazy story. I was diagnosed with cancer, and 4 months later, my husband was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and he passed away 6 weeks after that. And I got married when I was 18 years old to the love of my life. I was 47 years old and single and had no idea what life was going to look like. Yeah. But I knew I wanted to do life right. And my husband was wonderful. And so I wanted to live a life honoring him. And I thought, well, how do I know, that I'm doing the best I can here? How am I going to know? And I thought, well, if I lived love, if it was all about love, because it should be all about love, then I'll be doing it right. And then I thought, well, what is love? I looked online, I looked at different books, and everybody's got different definitions. You put 12 people in a room, you get 12 different definitions. And so I thought, I'm just going to find out for myself. And so I dedicated a year, which I got to tell you, I mean, you did your big journey across the country.
Right.
So you dedicated that, you know what it's like to dedicate a big amount of time. And I go out for dinner and have a hard time committing to an entree. So committing a year to something, that was a big stretch for me. But I decided I'd do it and figure out the real meaning of love. So I knew how to live the rest of my life.
And that to me is just so beautiful. So of the many love is definitions, which comes from 1 Corinthians 13, love is patient, love is kind, yada, yada, yada. We all know that part, right? I want to know, first of all of those definitions of love, which one was the easiest for you?
Oh my gosh. I think I'm a little thick-headed, maybe because none of them were easy. It took me to the end. I did one a month, and it took me to the end of every month to figure out what it meant. But if I would have stopped, Terry, at month number 1, it was life-changing.
Right.
And it took me a while to figure it out. But when I figured out what love is patient really means, because every month I thought, oh, this will be easy, kind. We know kind is patient.
Kind. We're all kind, right?
Yeah, no kidding. Right. And so patient, I know what patience is. You're not yelling at your kids when they can't find their shoes, or whatever.
Right.
But what I ended up finding out was that to love with love that is patient is to be 100% here right now. So you're not thinking about the past. You're not thinking about the future. You're thinking about this moment and this moment only. You recognize that this moment is the most important moment of your life. The past is gone. The future is yet to come. This is the moment. And so you want to be fully in this moment. And so you're loving somebody enough that you're fully engaged. You're fully here. And I got to tell you, I stunk at this. I was horrible. I thought I was some grand multitasker, right? Like I could be deep in conversation, be thinking about who needs to get to soccer, what I'm going to make for dinner, all at the same time. And I realized quickly that I'm not that multitasker. And so I had to practice this. So I practiced. And when I got it and started really focusing on living it, I heard things I never would have heard, because there's so much language that's nonverbal, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you're busy thinking about something else, you're not looking at the nonverbal. You're just hearing, and you probably are only hearing part of what's being said anyway, because you've got your mind in 18 different directions. And yeah,
Yeah.
I found it really interesting, especially that idea that, oh, I've got this, because the start of every chapter really is Kim pretty much saying, I got this one. This is easy. Like, I've got it. And then, a few days in and you're like, oh, well, maybe I don't have this quite as much as I thought I did. And that's one of the things I found so refreshing about the book, is this was not you saying, look how perfect I am. I looked down, I said, love is kind. I got it. Here are 3 examples of me doing love is kind. Move on. It was more like, here is love is kind. I think I know what I'm doing. Oh no.
Exactly. Yeah. So true. So true. Yeah.
So was the patient one then the hardest for you? Or were there others that you found more difficult?
Yeah. It's so hard to judge because every month was so different. And then, like, because I did patient and then I knew what love is patient is, it had to carry into the next month.
Exactly.
Right?
It's not like you put it away, started brand new.
Exactly. Right? So they added on. And the one that I dreaded, I have to say, is love keeps no record of wrongs. Right? Because I thought, well, you might forgive people, but you don't forget the things that happened to you.
Right.
So what does it possibly mean? And that month, at the end of the month, I was contacted by a man in the US, asked if I would show him this water project. And he brought 7 other men with him. So we're in Haiti. I was in Haiti most of the time while I was working on this. And so I was in Haiti working on this water project. He wanted to see it. So 8 American men, and I brought 2 Haitian friends to translate, and they knew the water project inside and out. And they came with us, and we drove out to the countryside and got to where we were staying. And there were 2 rooms, this little building, 2 rooms with 4 twin-sized beds in each room. So 8 American men, 2 Haitian men, and me. But I thought, well, we brought a couple cots and we got an air mattress. We can just move stuff around. This is no big deal. You only go in there to sleep. It's so hot in Haiti. And so a few minutes later, the head guy who had contacted me from the US called me and said, Kim, can I talk to you? And I'm like, sure. And he said, did you see the rooms? And I'm thinking, buddy, there's nothing else to see. And then I thought, oh, he's going to think I want my own room. So I'll just say, well, it's okay. I'll sleep outside. And he'll say, no, if anyone should sleep inside, it should be you. And I'll say, well, I don't care if there's other people in my room. And he'll say, good, because there's only so much space. So I said, well, it's okay. I'll sleep outside. And he went, oh, good. Because we've got men on this trip that would not be comfortable with a woman in their room. Terry, I offered to sleep outside in Haiti with tarantulas and snakes and chupacabras. I offered. And so I had to do it, but I was dumbfounded.
Right.
I thought I couldn't believe his response. And I thought, what is going to happen? I wear pajamas to bed. Like, what is going to happen in the middle of the night in hot Haiti? I had no idea why this would be so tragic to have a woman in your room. But I said I was going to do it. So I had to do it. So I found this piece of plywood and then something that could be held up on. And I thought, well, if I put my air mattress under there, at least, I'll be underneath something if it rains, right? So first night, I blow up the air mattress, crawl underneath the plywood, and I was scared to death because there are tarantulas and snakes and who knows what lurking in the bushes of Haiti. And I was scared. I'm just out there in the elements, right? And it was so loud. Dogs were barking, horns were honking. It went on, and my air mattress held air for about an hour. And then I'm on gravel. That was not comfortable. So here I am on gravel, the dogs, the horns, loud. They finally died down probably sometime after midnight, whatever time. And then a little while later, voodoo drums started in the distance. And then that kept me awake. And then I think they stopped around 5 a.m. And then I was finally able to get a little bit of sleep because we were up 6:30, 7 o'clock. First night came and went, no problem. Second night, same thing. My air mattress is out of air. The dogs, the horns, the voodoo drums. Finally, I'm asleep. But I woke up because there was something on my leg. And Terry, I was
Was
so
it a tarantula?
afraid. Oh my gosh, I worried what it could be. I thought, gosh, does Haiti even have the anti-venom to whatever's about to bite me, or can I be airlifted to Miami in time to save a limb? Like, what is going to happen? So I slowly lifted my head. I slowly opened my eyes, and it was a chicken.
Oh.
It was a chicken on my leg. And I didn't know whether to be happy it was just a chicken or mad because it woke me up from the tiny bit of sleep I was getting, but I shooed it away. Third night came and went, no problem. Fourth night, same thing. No air in the air mattress, dogs, horns, voodoo drums. Finally, I'm asleep. But again, I woke up because there was something on my leg. And again, I was scared to death. And again, I slowly lifted my head and I slowly opened my eyes. And again, it was the dang chicken. And again, I didn't know whether to be mad or happy, but I shooed it away. That night, though, we had chicken for dinner. So the fifth night came and went with no problem whatsoever. And I'll tell you, after that, I was a little bitter. I was like,
Yeah.
right? Who do these guys think they are, right? And I thought, what the heck? And then I thought, well, I'm working on Love Keeps No Record of Wrongs. Like, and then it went, oh, I get it. I finally get it. You know, we're in charge of our own narrative. We're in charge of how we take things in, right? We're in charge of how we react. People don't make us mad. We get mad. We might get mad because of what somebody does, but they're not making us get mad. That's our choice, right? We're in charge of that. And so instead of thinking, oh, these rotten guys that did this rotten thing to me, now I just think I could sleep anywhere in the world and be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I now know.
I now know.
Because of this event, I now know I can sleep anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So so it's just shifting the narrative. That's all it is.
I like that idea. And I know that I do that for myself sometime without not putting it in this context, but where I have said before, okay, I have to change what I'm thinking because what I am now is just angry. I'm just, and it's not helping anything and it's not bothering them at all. And I'm the one walking around seething, right? Those 8 men and 2 interpreters, they had no idea you were furious.
No, right? Exactly.
And so so it was only hurting you. And so that's love doesn't keep a record is really for your own benefit.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So true. Yeah. So true.
I love that. So when did you actually do this? I know that the book was when the book was written, but when did you do this experiment?
Well, when I was able to go back to work, because I was still dealing with cancer, my husband passed away. When I was physically able to go back to work, I didn't know what I was going to do. I had businesses, I could go back there, but people were running them, so I didn't have to. And I wanted to kind of take it slow. So I decided to be part-time bookkeeper of a nonprofit organization that my father and I had started 10 years before. So on January 1st, that year, 2010, I started as part-time bookkeeper. And 12 days later, there was an earthquake in Haiti that killed 200,000 people. So within 2 weeks after the earthquake, I was in Haiti. And then the majority of the month, each month after, I was in Haiti, at least part of every month for several years. So I started it and I thought about it for a long time and wondered if I could really make the commitment. To be honest, like I really wanted to do it, but I was determined that if I committed to do it, I was going to do it and do it for me. I was doing it for me. I didn't expect it to become a book or anything. You know, I was doing it for me. So I started in 2011.
Okay.
2011. Yeah.
Okay. So that's been 14 years. Mm-hmm. So my question, and this is like deep down and honest, are you still trying to live them?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. It changed my life. It rocked my world. Okay. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like you have to revisit one? Like all of a sudden you recognize you're not doing it? Like you wake up one morning and you go, oh, gee, I'm not doing that.
Well, I think so many things become habit, right? Yeah. Like the way I talk to people now, the way I interact, I am there. I am so there. And it's very unusual for my mind to wander at all because I've practiced it so much, right?
Right.
And so with the other ones too, I've just practiced it so much that it's just really become a way of life. The one that that I have to remind myself is that I'm in control of the narrative.
Okay.
And so when something happens and somebody is trying to make me angry or trying to upset me in some way, I do remind myself, I am going to stay cool because I get to control the narrative. They can't
Right.
make me, they can't force me, whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah. The reason I ask is because, I rode across the United States on a tandem. I wrote a book, 10 Little Rules. These are life lessons I learned. You think you learn them. I really did learn them. And then I'll find myself beating my head against a wall, and I'll stop and think, Terry, remember the rules. Like, this, and so I think maybe I'm more stubborn than you are. And it's just, I get into my mindset, and then I have to stop and say, remember, you can do this, or, whatever it is. And so I was just curious if after 14 years now, this is habit, or you still find yourself having to remember, gee, maybe I should read chapter 7 again,
Yeah, I know. I mean, it does just become a way of life. I think
Yeah.
because it's love, and love is everything and everywhere. And love, we get it wrong, right? There's things that we're taught about love that are not love.
Right.
Like, you got to give love to get love. Like, love is a two-way street, right? Well, then you're making love a transaction, and love's not a transaction. I give you money, you give me a pair of jeans. That's a transaction. I give
Right.
you love, you give me love. It doesn't work like that. Love is 100% on you, 100%. So you love because that's what love does, period. And so it's who you are. Love is who you are. It's walking, talking, living, giving, breathing. And so when you embody it and recognize it, that love is who you are, because love is who everybody is.
Right.
How you decide to walk it is up to you, but love is who everybody is.
So when you say that it like rocked your world, it changed your world, in addition to, you said that it made you like more present in the moment when people are talking. What other things have you noticed that significantly changed, pre-Kim, post-Kim? Like, what is different in your world?
I would say a big one is expectations.
Okay.
We don't control anybody, right? You bring a baby home from the hospital, you decide when the baby eats, when the baby takes a nap, when the baby has a bath, but then 6, 7, 8 months later, your Tupperware is all over the kitchen floor, pots and pans are banging. You realize you have lost all control.
Yes.
I promise you never get it back again, right? So you don't control anybody but yourself. You only control yourself. And if you don't understand that, then it's easy to have expectations on people. And like love is kind, is being kind, doing kind things, saying kind words with zero expectation of getting anything in return. Giving love in general is it's a zero expectation love. So before this journey, I would say, gosh, they didn't even say thank you.
Yeah.
Or, I was at their daughter's wedding. Why aren't they at my daughter's wedding? Things like that. Right. And now I'm like, no, I love to do things for people. I love to help people. I love to give to people. And I love it even more without wanting anything in return or expecting anything in return, because then it's just pure love. It's pure giving,
Right.
not you're not doing something to get something.
Yeah. That is beautiful. And I think it sounds almost utopian, like that's difficult to do, because I think kind of as humans, we're wired to have expectations where, you expect people to show up at a certain time, and you expect this and you expect that, and you have all of this kind of wired in, and to be able to free yourself of that, it does sound kind of relaxing.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Love is so freeing. The freest way you can live is to love everybody.
Right.
Take down the labels. Don't say, well, those people, or they, them, whatever.
Right.
I like the people in my club, the other party, they're bad, whatever. Because there's not a them. There's a you. There's a Terry. There's a Kim. We might belong to a club. We might be.
But that doesn't necessarily define who we are. Right. I've said the same thing to people, this idea of the us and thems, and like, how do you get rid of that? And I said, you start meeting people from the them group, until you recognize that you don't dislike all those thems.
Right.
There may be a them that you don't care for, but it isn't because they're a them. It's because of that particular person. You know, it has nothing. And I actually did a talk where I said, you know, for instance, if you hated blonde haired authors and you just said you didn't care for them, right? And then you meet me and you like me, you either have to say, oh, Terry's an exception to the rule, right? Or you have to change your rule. Well, most people meeting just one would make me an exception. But what if you met 10 blonde haired authors or 15 or 30 that you liked? Well, eventually you're going to have to change your rule, right? Because it doesn't work anymore. And so the way to get rid of those us's and thems is to start meeting more people that you've shoved in the them category. So it's along that same line. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. That is so good. And it's so true. You know, the more people you meet, the more you realize people are people all over the world.
Yeah.
And
we're
all, you know,
we're
all
far more alike. Yeah.
Exactly. We have so much more in common than we have different from everybody. So yeah, so true.
And I have found that as you get to really get to know someone and you find common bonds, that the things that would separate you don't matter as much. You know, like you and I have had long conversations. I really enjoy you. I think this is, you know, I think that we have it's a new friendship, but it's a friendship that I feel is there. And yet I don't have, and don't answer this, but I have no question what your religion is. I have no question who you would vote for. I have no question. I don't know. I don't know. And you know why? Because it doesn't matter one iota. Right? I mean,
exactly.
Because you and I connected somewhere else. And so all of those other things that the world puts on there, like, you know, for all I know, you like pineapple on your pizza, right? And this could really be an issue, but it doesn't have to be if we just focus on those things that we are connected with one another. And then those other things are things that make kind of interesting topics around the table.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah, things to learn about. Open up your world and learn about how people live, different cultures and whatever. It's so interesting. Yeah.
I love that. That's just beautiful. So I know that this is not your only book. Tell us a little bit about some of the other things you've written and if you have anything coming up in the future.
Yeah, well, my first book, I actually started writing when I was diagnosed with cancer because I had breast cancer. I went to the bookstore like the day after I was diagnosed, and everything was either depressing or real medical. And I was like, well, what does it feel like? And are there choices I have to make? And I wanted to know what it was. And so I started writing really kind of as a way to let family and friends know what was going on.
Right.
And it was back in the day, right? So my writings were going out via email. And before I knew it, 5,000 people were on my email list and reading my emails. And I just wrote when I felt like writing, but I was writing through my journey and then through my husband's and then losing him. So I wrote for about a year. And that book is called Cry Until You Laugh. And it is just the writings of how I was feeling and choices you have to make and what was going on, you know, and any given day.
Yeah. And that book is currently sitting on my table. It's one I want to read. My husband died 1 year ago. So it's been just 1 year. And I go to pick up that book and I think, I don't know that I can do it yet. And I keep putting it back down. It's why I read Love Is, because I knew I was going to read one of your two. And I thought, I think I can do Love Is. And the other one, I don't know. I'm still in a weird space and I'm still trying to figure out all of the landscape. And I go to pick up books on grief and other things that people have given me. And it's like, I just can't yet. Mm-hmm. I'm not in a space where that feels good to me. So that's those two books. Have you written anything since then?
Yeah, well, I've got a journal that's out there, a love journal, but I also have, or a grief journal, actually, a grief journal. But I am real close to being done with a book on grief. And I know exactly what you're saying. Like, you know, is it just going to make me cry? Is it just going to make me depressed more than I already am? Or whatever? Right. And where I write from is, of course, personal experience, but I think we're really good at judging other people's grief.
Oh yeah, we
right?
are.
Right?
Yeah.
Like we want to give people a timeline. We want people to be happy after a certain amount of time, but not too happy.
Right.
If you laugh, that might not be good if you do it too soon. But after this amount of time, you should be over it.
Yes. Yeah.
But you never get over it.
No.
You will never get over it. He will forever be a part of your life, forever, right?
Right. Oh,
And
yeah.
so, yeah. People are so good at judging grief. And so I thought, well, I'm going to write a book about the fact that those 5 steps that I got criticized for not going through, not going in the right order, not going through all of them, they weren't even written for a griever. They were written for people that had a terminal illness, a terminal diagnosis, and those were the stages they were going through before they died.
Right.
It had nothing to do with grieving, but we've taken it on as gospel. These are the steps, and you got to go through them. And so anyway, so I dispel it in my book is about let people grieve however people grieve, and don't ever tell anybody to get over it. And
right.
the wrong things to say, and
the wrong things to say, like, I know exactly how you feel.
Yeah.
No, you do not.
Yeah.
You do not. Yeah. I actually, so I have a therapist, and he was telling me there's no wrong way to grieve, da, 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 da. And then like 10 minutes into this session, he says to me, I don't think you're sitting in your grief enough. And I said, number one, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know how to be any more in it than I am. And number two, I thought you just got done saying there isn't a wrong way to grieve. And now you're telling me I'm not doing it right. So which is it? Mm. Is there a right way and I'm doing it wrong? And he went, well, I'm just, and I said, yeah, you can't have it both ways. Mm-mm. I can't both be any way is fine and you're wrong.
Right. It makes no sense. It's like telling a 6-year-old, 8:00 is your bedtime. So go to bed. Well, nope, 7:30, whatever. Like you can't do it. You can't have both.
It's like you can't.
7:30. No,
yeah.
You can't have it both ways.
Yeah, it makes me crazy. And then for me, I just hit the year mark, and I didn't do it consciously, but I thought that the 1 year would be like a watershed moment. Like I would then be able to say, 1 year, there we go. Now I'm ready. And what I realized is it means that I've lived 1 year without him, and now I'm starting my 2nd year.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It wasn't life altering. There was no magic moment. There was no fireworks. And I don't think I consciously said, but in my mind, it was like the year, that will be it. Mm-hmm. And so I did say to my therapist, even just last week, I said, so like, when is that date? Yeah. When it gets easy and I don't have to do hard things every morning. Like, when does that happen? And he said, I don't know. So yeah, I think that'll be, what is the name of the book, and when do you hope it'll be out?
Well, the working title is Not Broken, Just Grieving.
Okay. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And I'm sending it out to publishers now. So awesome. We will see when it will be published. But yeah.
Awesome. I think that'll be an excellent book. That's definitely something that's needed in this world. Do you have other ideas for future writings?
I do. Yeah. Another book that I'm working on that is so much fun is I'm calling it Mother Goofs. And it's how my kids tell me I screwed up and what they'll do differently. Because my kids are gold medalists at letting me know what I did wrong as a mother.
Oh, yeah.
They win the prize. Like, I don't think there's any kids better at it. And they let me know every little thing I've done wrong. And so I'm writing about it. I'm having a blast writing about it. And they're not thrilled that I'm writing the book, but I don't care. I'm having a blast. It's fun. And
well, it'll be one more thing that they can point to and say, this is something you did wrong.
Exactly.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah. All right. So, hey, guys, to continue this conversation, head on over to Novels and Latte Book Club, where you will have the opportunity to win a digital copy of Love Is. Kim, if someone wanted to get in touch with you, talk with you about the books that you've written, talk with you about the books coming up, about being a speaker, about going to Haiti, any of those things, what is the best way for them to reach out to you?
Well, it's interesting. I am literally the only Kim Sorrelle spelled my way in the entire world because my last name has way too many letters. There's 2 R's, 2 E's, 2 L's. So it's Sorrelle. So kimsorrelle.com is my website, and you can get in touch with me easily through my website. And
fantastic.
I love it when people do. So
fantastic. So I'll have that in the show notes, guys. Run out, grab a copy of Love Is. It is, even for not living it and just reading it, it was life-changing. I think about this book regularly, and I have recommended it to so many people and said, you're going to love this book. This is something that'll really make you think. So I want to thank you for that. Run out, guys, and grab it. And Kim, thank you for being with me today.
Oh my gosh, Terry, you're amazing. And I love our friendship. I love that we know each other and relate on so many levels. And I love this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to Online for Authors, where I, Terry M. Brown, author of character-driven fiction and host of the podcast, introduce readers to characters they'd love to invite to lunch. Tune in next Tuesday for another podcast episode.